It is spring, finally. It has been a very wet winter here in California. We got a lot of rain. We definitely needed it, but now the sun is coming out, the flowers are waking up. It's a wonderful time to be a gardener. The roses are finally coming alive. We've dormant sprayed them, we've given them some water and some food, and now it's time to make sure that they stay great throughout this spring and continue on throughout the entire year. So this time of year, we're going to be looking for a couple of different pests, thrips and aphids. Aphids are those tiny little green, brown little insects that you see on the top of the buds. They'll be on top of new growth. We don't really care too much about them. We're not too concerned about them. There's a couple of ways you can get rid of them. You can just take them off with your hand. You can spray them off with a jet stream on your hose. They're not going to do a lot of damage to your blooms. They're going to leave a slimy trail behind on maybe some new growth or some leaves, but nothing to worry about. You can even buy a bag or a jar of ladybugs or lacewings and release them. If you do that, release them in the evening. If you release them during the day when it's sunny, those ladybugs are going to fly away and they will not return. So if you release them, put them down at the base of the plant as the sun is setting, talk to them, tell them, say, go get those green things, and hopefully they will do their magic. Now, thrips are not our friends. Thrips are a minuscule insect that go inside of the bud. As soon as those sepals start to open and just to crack a little bit, a thrip will go in there, more than one because that's what they do. They will go in there and they start sucking the moisture out of the petals. You'll see brown spots on the petals and then sometimes on the top of the bud, depending on how much damage has been done. So the best thing you can do is be proactive. You want to keep a clean environment around the base of the plant. You can spray using a horticultural oil that will help defend the petals, the blooms. When we first started growing roses, we had about 500 rose bushes, and we noticed that thrips started to become a problem in the very first flush. We were excited about that flush, but once we saw the thrips, we decided to disbud all of the roses. It was sad. It was not something we wanted to do, but we did it. And what we noticed, one, it set the blooms back only about 2 to 3 weeks. They come back really fast, but it also allowed the plant time to grow, to get bigger, to get longer stems and bigger blooms. So it's something we always recommend to people at the beginning of the season. Go ahead, just snap off those little rosebuds. It's not going to harm the plant and is just going to help put on more growth, because what that bud is doing is taking all of that energy and putting it into the growth of that bloom. But if it's not there, then it's putting into the growth of the plant, which subsequently gives you longer stems and bigger blooms. The other thing besides pests that we're going to be concentrating on this time of year is fungal diseases, and primarily rust and black spot. Both of these occur when it's cold outside, when it's wet, when the leaves don't have enough time to dry out. And this is definitely one of the reasons why we recommend planting your roses where they have plenty of full sun. Because once these diseases happen, it's not as easy to cure. In fact, with rust and with black spot, you have to remove the foliage. You can spray them once you have it, but that doesn't stop the rust on those leaves. Rusts are the orange spores that form on the underside of the leaves. It's an airborne disease and it spreads very quickly. We had a client that planted several rose bushes in her front yard, and the person that planted them so close together that when one plant got sick, it just spread right to the other plants so quickly and they all got rust. And it was a tremendous amount of work to defoliate all those plants and bring them back to health. Again, going back to pruning, when you're pruning, you want to make sure that there's plenty of airflow in those plants. You don't want to have canes crossing over and the leaves getting bunched up in there together, as well as you don't want the plants too close next to each other where they're fighting for space and they're fighting for airflow. So keep that in mind when you're pruning, when you're planting. Leave enough space. If there's a little spore, take off that leaf. You don't have to worry about the others. But what you want to do is spray. You can want to spray with some fungicide, and if you have to defoliate a plant or remove particular leaves from a plant due to rust or black spot, make sure that you do not leave it down below the plant. The disease is still there, so you want to take it, put it in a trash bag, tie it up tight, take it to the trash can or the dumpster, get it away from your rose bushes. And also, do not use it for compost. Now, while rust is something that forms on the bottom of leaves, black spot forms on the top of the leaves. It starts as a small black spot and can grow to about 1/2 inch. It's not going to kill the plants, just like rust. It's not going to kill the plants if you get it in time. It ultimately weakens the plant, the health system, and makes it more susceptible to other diseases. There is no perfectly disease-resistant rose. There are some that are very disease-resistant, but still, you have to take care of them. You have to give them water. You have to give them sun. Give them a little food, and they're going to love you, right? A little TLC, just like humans. What you give, they give. Leaves will grow back if they have to be removed. Buds will grow back if they have to remove. It's not something you need to panic over. It's a rose bush. They are very hardy. You don't have to be afraid. Just, if you get a disease, you get a pest, take care of it. It won't be the end of that rose. It's not the end of your season. Even if you defoliate the plant in the spring, or you remove the buds in the spring, they're going to come back in a couple weeks. So you're going to be fine. We recommend keeping a journal of how you take care of your plants and see what works. You can go back and say, you know what, this copper spray or this horticultural oil or neem oil didn't work, so I'm going to try a different product. Try one thing, and if it doesn't work, and we always recommend spraying once and then every 7 or 10 days, go back and spray a second time. Sometimes they need a third time, depending on if it's proactive or if you're already in the disease, or if you already have the pest infestation and you have to spray again. Read the manufacturer's label on the back. Roses do get immune to sprays, so rotate your method every 3 or 4 times. If you use the same product over and over, the thrips may come back the 4th time and say, oh, I know this one. This one was here last time and we got along just fine. So I'm going to keep going and I'm going to invite all my friends. So you don't want that. Just if you're going to have to spray a few times, maybe on that 3rd time, maybe on that 4th time, find a different product. A simple pest or disease does not mean that your season is over. We deal with the same issues. There are times that we still face rust. We still face black spot or thrips. We just take care of it. We try to be preventative, but that's not always the case. One plant might not get sprayed as well as another, but just take care of it. It's not going to ruin your season. We get another chance to nurture a beautiful rose throughout the year and spring. It's a wonderful time, and it's a time to make sure that you have a healthy plant. If you have any questions, please do not hesitate to comment, to contact us. We look forward to continuing our season. This is just the spring, and we have a lot coming up as we take you through what we do on a rose farm and how we take care of our roses throughout the season. Thanks.